make sure my voice is good. Yeah, on the recording we're good. We're live. Welcome. Good morning. How's everyone feeling this morning? We had the Fed meeting yesterday, and the market ripped after that. As we saw, this is yesterday's price action. Around here is choppy. Then after the whole conference ended, we ripped to a new high, and then slowly rolled over into the after hours, and then gapped down in pre-market all the way down to 682. So we're all the way up here at 689-ish, and then we just rolled over and gapped down once we opened in pre-market. Now we're all the way back here. We actually filled the gap in pre-market again. So back and forth here, rip up, pull back, gap down, then we gap back up here with this gap fill, and now we're sitting right here on SPY. So things are looking better than what they did look like when we were opening pre-market, right? So we are getting, and this stream is going to be trying to live trade some options, SPY. Maybe we'll look at Tesla too, and then we're going to just go over briefly, the strategy. Pretty much I teach that just brings a lot more consistency to my P&L every week, every month, every year. And not forcing trades based on no information. You're just kind of following people, or you're just FOMOing into something that's already ran up pretty hard. So I'm just going to focus on the SMA 20 ribbon strategy. Made this custom indicator for TradingView, and then I also have VWAP, and then we're going to focus on the volume as well. So if we're looking at SPY now, pre-market 9:20 a.m. we are seeing that it's looking a little bit better than it did, 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. We are signaling the ribbon. We are above VWAP again after just briefly losing it. So we're back up here in pretty much like the mid of this channel right here, right between this high and this low over here. So planning this into market opens not going to be easy today, just because of where we're sitting currently on the chart. Good morning, everyone in Discord, on social media. If you have any questions, hit the comments, or in the chat in the Discord if you want me to take a look at any charts, or have any questions, or anything that you would like for me to bring up. So we're sitting at 680, 685 in the middle of these two zones, and don't really like it too much where it's sitting. So that's the top of the zone. Then we got, we can put two little zones here, the bottom and top of this one, and this is demand support, where it's bounced off a few times and held that level, or it's been a resistance point flipped to a support. So you can see here, pretty much we bumped our head against it right here, and then finally we got through it right here to the upside. So that's going to be used as, if we do decide to fall down, that could be potential target for maybe a retracement and then maybe a bump up, or we continue down below these levels if we lose them, right? So I am going to look for that particular trade, and we can have a look. This isn't really big support, but it can be an entry for us right here. So you can see that we bounce off here. So I'm just going to use this as an entry point for the downside if we get any downside move today. After that strong price action, maybe not. But what we can look for downside for SPY is to get underneath that green line, preferably retest it on 2-3 minute candle, and then go from there to the downside, get a flush down. Just kind of how we got here, right? We can aim for even lower to this gap fill, this gap that we came down to in pre-market at 4 a.m. So we have some potential to play downside, big downside move if that sell side volume comes in. Now the upside is not going to be smooth sailing. I think we can put this level up here as well, because we use this as a bouncing point, support touch here, bounce off. Then we use it as a resistance right here. So I'm going to look for this as a target point. If we decide to rip higher, this will be a target. This will be a target. This will be a target, all pretty much at the highs of yesterday. So if the momentum still kicks into overgear like yesterday, I will be looking for an entry once we get above this red line, preferably a retest, like I say, pull back, hold a support, and then take off from there. That's ideal, what I will be looking for. And this may take a little bit of time to play out. It's not going to be the first 2 minutes to market open. That's probably the worst time to jump right into a trade. So it may play out in maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes. We just have to be patient and wait for this to play out. And once it does play out, should give us some really good profits on this SPY trade. So let's go to the option chain as well real quick, because we got about 5 minutes. I'm sorry if I'm trying to rush through this. I just want to get us planned out before chaos market open comes, when everyone just forgets their plan and just jumps into everything. So let's try to get this concrete down so that we know what we're going to be doing. I'm going to go for December 12th expiration, so that is tomorrow. And for the call side, I'm going to look to trade, what are we at now? 686.85. So I look to trade at 687s. So SPY 687 calls. Oops, that does not do it. Calls, and this will be for December 12th. This is what I do every morning too, right? So I get minutes before, I look at SPY chart, then I plan something out. It's not worth coming on 2 hours before, because this whole chart can change in that amount of time, and your plan's probably going to be obsolete already. So I would just like come on maybe 30 minutes before, plan out your levels, resistance, support, and then plan around those about 30 minutes before market opens, because not much is really going to change into market open at that point. So I will be looking to play 687 calls once we get through this line here. That's about 686 is what I'm looking for, a breakthrough. 686, that is the resistance that it hit in pre-market. Downside, we're going to look to play 685, so 683. Now these prices are going to update after market open, right? All these contract prices are based on yesterday's close. So let's just let that update after market opens. And we're going to pick here SPY 683 puts, and that's for December 12th. Same thing yesterday. And we're going to look for I prefer 3-minute candle close, and not just one candle. I would like to see like 2 or 3 candle follow through for me to confirm and feel more confident in taking it. I like to see a candle close underneath the line, and then either retest and start rolling off there and take an entry, or we see a follow through with the next red candle and we take an entry. Same thing with upside. Get a green candle above resistance, next candle follow through with a green candle for more confidence in that trade. If it rolls over with a red right away, I'm not going to take it. Yeah, the last price. So you're going to see, well, I don't see puts updated here, but if there was any prices, like the last is based off of yesterday's price action at close. So yeah, those prices are going to be updated pretty fast once market opens, right? So like we can say 687 puts, right? Because it closed at 687.57. So 687 puts at $2.52. And we're now $2 lower. So I'm sure those are going to be much higher at this point, right? Because they're going to be in the money. So those prices are going to change for those contracts. So we're just going to let it a couple minutes, let it roll out, and then update for us, and then we can pick our trades after that. So that is the trade for SPY. And I think we're going to get the big moves. I don't think it's going to go sideways inside of this little box. I think we're going to get the big rip up, or we're going to start selling right back off to pretty much this pre-market gap open right here. That's where I'm kind of looking to max my profits out right there. And then here, I just look to aim this way and then this way, even higher. Let me put that line here as well. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Path, there we go, right here. So this will be continuation. If we get through this line, raise my stop up, maybe I trim some of my position, and then look to take it to this way, this you know, yesterday's highs, to kind of max out my profits there and minimize my risk at that point. Good morning, Sailor. So that's that. Oracle had earnings down 14%. So let's have a look at what Oracle's doing. It's selling off hard still. It's rolling over. I believe they got a lot of debt load. They're going to spend a lot more money than they're expecting on the cap. So this was the trade that we did in coaching, right? And this has played out pretty well twice now. If you're playing it twice, to the downside, not even to the upside, to the downside. Lose 218.50, continue selling pressure, take it 200 or less. And this expiration is still in, you know, it's still active. So you could have kind of rinsed and repeated this twice from our coaching, because this is the entry that we had here, and then it bounced back up and we lost it again. We're all the way back down there again, though, right there. 190. So, okay, market open. Let's see where we go. And then the watch list. Let me just post a watch list in the chat as well. We can go over those shortly as well. Let me put those up so we don't miss out on those. Here we go. Here is the watch list trades. So those are two. The middle one, the second one already. BTTC already smashed all the targets pretty quickly. I'm sorry, I put it out. Like 2 minutes later, it hit like 11 bucks. So that was just too fast. But the other ones still could be nice plays that we just have to look for as well. All right, so let's see what we are. We're getting a little bit of sell-off, but like I say, we're like 30 seconds in. So let me go to my... Anyone else want me to look at any different option trades in the Discord? Let me know. If you want me to check out maybe another one. Tesla's red. Tesla's going red here. I also like put some Tesla under 446.40. So like this red line was put from yesterday. So if we lose that black line there, we could see some more downside into this choppiness down here to about 443. So if we don't hold this black line, I would aim for 443 downside. If we hold it, then we could just be, you know, bounce right back up. Adobe had earnings too, not much movement. Yeah, my goodness. Adobe keeps beating estimates and guidance and non-stop growth in that stock and company, and they still don't get the love. It reminds me of PayPal. That one does, right? When PayPal raises guidance, they beat earnings, they beat everything that is expected, but it chops off. It's the same thing with Adobe. Adobe doesn't get any love, just like PayPal. PayPal is pretty much at 52 weeks lows again right now, and doesn't get no love whatsoever there. So Adobe reminds me just of PayPal. Eventually, they will start seeing the discounts that it's trading at, start buying it up again. I still like my position on Adobe. I still hold that until I die, pretty much. And the video, your current thoughts on RNXT. It looks like phase 3 info release is going to do well. Yeah, if that's going to be the case, we can't guarantee it's going to do well, that phase 3, right? But if that information comes out, the data for that trial, and it is positive compared with, you know, treatment that's out there now, then yes, I think RNXT could be a small cap that turns into a $20, $30 stock. I mean, we've seen it out there. So many small caps rip on really good news, and they end up being like $80 stocks, so, biotech stocks, right? So RNXT, if they don't dilute, if they don't start doing offerings when they pump on maybe some good news there, then yeah, I could see make making some good gains there if it's positive. But we want to make sure it's positive first, right? Let's see, top gainers. Next door is up. If you're in next door from the watch list, that one's already at first target. It's a meme-like stock now. The investor that got into open door is now invested in next door and trying to pump that one. So just be careful you don't catch the top there. We don't like people catching the top of trades. So next door, right from the get-go, pump all the way to a high pre-market, 333. If we get over that, more upside to probably like around 350. We are at 52-week low highs, so you know, look at the movement that it's had. It's pretty much at these highs. I mean, 3-year high, 3-year high here. So upside maybe to the mid to upper threes, but I'll be very, very careful. But it looks good. But it's a meme-like stock, right? So if you remember how Open Door acted, this same guy got into Open Door and pumped it. So this is the same guy here doing this. He believes it's like a 10xer. That's what he believes. Okay. Oracle is, Oracle got a bounce from 186 there. With Oracle, if we go back to November 25th, I'm just going to briefly discuss this. So we go back to November 25th, we see that it bottomed out on the wick at 185.63. Now, we could hold this level right here. We got down to 186.23, very close. Now, it can start to pump here. So it needs to hold that 185.63 from November's low. If it does, this could be a good candidate to bounce right back over 200 bucks for this. So I'm going to look out for this trade today. See if there's a bounce there. SPY is just sandwiched in that little zone, so I'm just going to let this play out. Next door, yeah, next door is up to 336. Then I also see pets. If you look at the watchlist channel in Discord, if you're in socials and you're like thinking, what am I talking about? Join the Discord. It's free. There's a free side of the Discord. You don't have to sign up for anything. Just go to our PB X and then just click on the link and you get signed up there. And it's a free community. If you want to upgrade, you can. But Pets is one that just got a takeover bid for $4 a share. I did put that in the watch list channel to be on the high alert today for this upside, and that one is moving up nicely. Continuation to the upside there. So it's $4 a share they've been offered, and it's $2.70 right now. All right, some action finally. SPY trying to get a little push. Yeah, Sad Boy Slim in the Discord. So silver's like one of those. They believe it's going to see some new fresh highs, just continuation for silver right now. Kind of like gold had a big run, and silver followed behind, but I believe looks like it's silver's turn more now. So I'm on a 3-minute chart. So I'm just going to take my time for a SPY entry. We've only been open 8 minutes. Anyone taking any trades so far? Tesla is losing that line. Look at that. Tesla's like a penny stock here. Look. So, I mean, as long as it stays under, and if you're in puts on Tesla under that break that we're looking for 446.50, then all you can do is put a stop loss maybe above that. If we get back above it, close above that line, then you can just safely exit with very small loss or maybe break even. But then you will target this downside move to 443 and change. So that one's moving pretty nicely there. So if we look at SPY, it's flat, but that Tesla is moving much better than SPY right now. So I'll be looking to take this down. And at this point, if you're in on that breakdown, you just protect your profits at this point, break even or above. You don't need to take a loss on this, but I'd be aiming for this low here yesterday. And also I'm going to put this line here as well. So there's 2 lines that I'll be focused on. We either get a bounce off this 28, or we get a bounce maybe off of this down here at 443. What's that? 443.66. See what happens. But SPY had a nice, Tesla had a nice pump, and look where it's at, back where it started in this little box here from yesterday. Boom, locked 4.5%, locked in 75, all out 9%. PET, swing in, RV, PH, and prop. Prop is one that I think undervalued, small cap in the energy sector, really good growth numbers that I just posted today. It's speculative still, right? Because it's penny stock, small cap, but I think it's undervalued, especially where it's grown, like what the growth numbers are and what they're bringing in compared with what they were a year ago or 2 years ago. I think it's been heavily probably shorted. And once they open the gates, I think prop has that potential to see some nice upside there. So much. I just grabbed a tiny piece of ATPC. That was like 10-cent stock, right? Yeah. I didn't put that on the watch list. A little risky there. I saw it though. I also was going to put SMX on the watch list, but it's a dodgy, you know, above 190 is what I was looking at. Now 225, but it's halted. Okay, so Tesla, if you're in any Tesla trades, downside trades, then it's at least holding this top line. But if it loses that and loses this next level, I mean, look at that. I mean, it has some room to fill into this area here. 440, maybe down to 435 if we get nasty around here. So those are the next levels if we lose it. If we bounce from here, then, you know, puts are not going to be the ones to take anymore. Absolute trash. All those watch list trades, unless it's very good news, obviously, most of them are trash. We're just trading momentum here. That's all we're trading, short-term momentum, day trading it. Some of them may end up being very significant news, like phase 3, and it's positive and it's continued to grow over the next few days. Continuation, great. We just look to trade those. But most of them are just trash, you know, fluff news. We just trade in the volume and the momentum, then get out. That's all we need to do. Let's see what next door is doing. Next door is at a new high, 347. SPY's not done the damn thing in 13 minutes. It's just in the box. see what else is moving. A lot of those, since the whole SpaceX announcement that they're going to IPO, like a lot of those companies are ripping, right? So a lot of satellite companies and rocket companies. Planet Labs up to $16. I think ASTS is up too. Let's see what that one's up at. $78 right now. I still hate that one. ASTS is one that I just hate. The fundamentals are pretty crap, if you ask me. For $78 stock, shouldn't be there. So let's not start on that, right? It could be here all day talking about those garbage stocks. Okay, so SPY is trying to move up. Still waiting for a 686 break. All out, quick 3% on pets. You met your goal for the day. Good stuff. The SPY is just not setting up that nice today. Let's just keep on looking at Tesla. So Tesla just bounced off, just retested this line and rejected hard here. This is a better. Let me see what we get here. SPY's falling off a little bit. Next door doing is at its highs. Adobe's green, 1.8% green. So that's not bad. At least it's not going red with those earnings yesterday. Thank you. Sailor. Yeah, I was just going to mention that Sailor beat is, I just saw it on my list there. It's up 18% more today. Look at that. Look at that beat on the watch list yesterday. Continuation to a new high today. It's looking strong. But you go to a daily chart, then all it's done is resistance points here. It's going to be very hard to get through that right there across the board. That is the resistance. If it can get through that 192, then we see definitely 2+. If we can get through 192 right there. Next door to a new high, 360s. We got a high there. If anyone's in that trade on the watch list at 360s, we got ourselves what is that return on that one from 308. So it hit all targets now from 308 to 372 so far. SPY is starting to lose that level. Let's see if this candle can close below this green line. So we got about 2 minutes left of this candle. 2 minutes left. It's going to be a long 2.5 minutes to see if this candle can close. Yeah, RZLT is also on the watch list, also moving up. That one you have to be very careful for, right? Because RZLT, you know me with these dead cat bounces. Once that stops coming as a dead cat bounce and the volume gets dried up, that thing's going to go down pretty quickly. So RZLT had phase 3 missed their primary endpoint of their late trial, and Pookie's here too. That's bad, especially when it's a late trial and it's the late stages of the trial and they just fail miserably, and it's a terrible readout, and they have nothing else because that was their primary drug that they were working on. They're gonna soak up that cash is gonna be gone pretty quickly. So it's just a dead cat bounce and get in, get out, maybe 10-15% bounce, and then not try to jump back in too much in the day after that. That is RZLT, if you're asking me about. That's the dead cat bounce trade. If I can get, no, I don't know, I don't want to buy any. I'm gonna sell. I can't short that. That's what it is. Okay, so SPY now showing its colors, right? And there's still 36 seconds left of this 3-minute candle. Not a great entry. I'm not going to jump in right on this big red candle. Looks at least soak it back up on the next candle about 50% and then roll over. Then I'd take the trade down. And then we look to take this down to these pre-market lows. It sucks that that's a big red candle, but it is what it is. Got 11 seconds. Now, the next candle, I just want it to kind of bounce back up about 50% of that previous candle and then start selling off, and then that could give me a better entry for downside move. If we get the bounce back. We may not. We may just roll right over again. All right, good stuff, Charlie. Phase, fail, phase. Yeah. Okay, so this is bouncing back up. Let's see if we get like 50% retracement to like here. Right here. Yeah. I'll be right there. I'm on a call. I'll be right there. I don't know if we're gonna get it. Looks like it wants to just continue to sell. A bit of this line. This is the line I want it to retrace up to. Oops. And then roll off of, and then I take that put trade. I probably take 682s for tomorrow, not 683s now. Perfect. So ideally, we want to just see this, touch this 50%, and then roll right off of there for an entry, instead of catching this big red candle and trying to get into it there. Pets is up to a new high day, 292. 294. My bad. Let's see what this one's doing. If we want a bit of fun with some low float stuff, TGL is one that's ripping up here. So on my top chart, I do have, well, it's pretty much this line here. Yeah, so we need to get across to 1250. And then this one could continue to rip much higher. So above 1250, TGL, this last pump that it had went all the way to the 50s last week, right here. Oh, well, it went to the 80s after hours on Friday when we had the team wrap up. So I'll be looking for a 1250 break for me to say this is going to continue up. So I'll be looking for a 1250 break and then take this up to, the 14s to the 16s, and then make sure I got a stop loss right behind it, because this one, as you can see, it can rise pretty fast, but it can also drop just as fast as that, right? So pretty much like steps going up and elevator down kind of thing. So we want to just make sure that we protect our downside. And with the tools that we've learned in coaching, we can definitely use that, raising stops, putting trading stops. We can scale out along the way, but we need a break above this 1250 for me to say take a little trade up towards these levels again where I put from last week. So I'm just looking up for us to clear that 1250 first, not a trade until then. Tesla is going lower, low of day. This next target would be 440.50. Pet's doing well, thanks. Yeah, absolutely. Looking for 325. Now, if the buyout is accepted, and it's obviously speculation right now, right? There's no approval for that buyout, that takeover bid of $4. But if it gets accepted, that stock will be close to $4 once that news comes out. So it really depends if they accept it or not. But if they do, likely to be a $4 stock when that news comes out. Yeah. Turn off your brain. Yeah, next door is topped out here. Watch out below for next door. So 3-minute chart. We're just continuing to roll over on SPY. Anyone take SPY puts? Anyone take Tesla puts? Anyone take any puts so far? Only any of those trades? No, everyone's just watching today. Pets is close to that $3 range. That's not going to be good. If SPY lose this 682, this gap down, watch out below 680 on deck. Let's go down here to probably around 681.40, and then we got some levels down here, right? So 680, let's say. And Fed Powell may have sounded like he's a little chirpy yesterday. He's definitely a chirpy little schoolboy. But he was mentioning yesterday, he's like, I don't care. He's like, oh, it's not that bad. Oh, it's great. Like all this stuff he was saying, he didn't really have too much detailed answers. But you got to look at that dot chart is still the same. So they're going to, I think there's only one rate cut next year on that dot chart now. Until they know further information, data that comes out. But that means it's going to be this tightened policy until, I don't know, the middle of next year, maybe at least, until they start maybe cutting again. But right now we've got I don't think we're going to see any more cuts. So I still feel there was a lot of hawkish tone, although it was a cut, people were excited. For 2026, it's not going to change much. So people pumped it, and now we're starting to see some profit taken. Beat is close to $2, so good beat here. Did we get to $2? We got to $1.99. Oh, it wants $2. Come on, blast it. Blast through that wall. Do it. You're a penny away. There we go. $2 on the dot, but it's got a big wall of 41,000. That's a huge wall at $2. Oh, there we go. We just went right through it. Slice right through that. 202 now and beat. Slice right through that like a piece of cake. Oh yeah, look at this. This is looking nasty. SPY's looking nasty. It filled, well, pop back down to that gap that it opened up at 4 o'clock. Not looking good whatsoever. There's not much buying going on. Next level would be 681.40. It does not look. It's below the SMA 20. It's below VWAP. Everything's bearish. We can bring up the chart as well to show you. Right here, look at this. Look all the technicals, all bearish. What's the point buying trying to guess a reversal in this kind of mess? Once more of these turn green, then we can look to play the reversal back up. But right now, there's just a couple green and the rest are red. So beats at 203. Tesla's down to a low of day, down to 441. On the weekly for Tesla, let's have a look. See what's going on inside candle. Not looking great. Tesla's so close to all-time highs, just kind of fizzles out a little bit. But on the 4 hour now, we got a bearish signal on the ribbon, so it's curling down. If you look at the ribbon, bullish above, bearish below. It's starting to sell off. So if we close the day down here, then it's, I think, more downside towards 435 would be where I'd aim next for this one. We'll see if it closes down here today. Beat is at 207, 209. This one's going 212. Once it ripped through that, there was, if you look over here, I got bid and ask right here, but there was a big 40,000 wall at $2, and it ripped right through that, and we got a nice pop right once we got through it. Pets flew through $3. Good stuff. Are you still in that trade? Pets is at, yeah, it's at around $3 right now. Pets is nice stuff. It hits 317 high. That one is a really good chart to view, because and with the ribbon as well. Look how clean the ribbon, the price action is above the ribbon. That's how you can find trades and stay in trades with something like the ribbon to keep you in, and bounces off the red or bounces off the green, or for entries under that is where I stop out with the ribbon. But the ribbon can easily give you nice entries once we move off the green or hold in the red. And then if we lose the red is when it shows us a bearish signal, and that's potentially where we exit for our profits or leave with the remaining shares that we have, maybe after trimming. So like 2 or 3 minutes is beautiful with the ribbon. And in the coaching I ask, we teach this strategy a lot, and it's doing pretty well. I'll be right out, buddy. I'll be out in a minute. What happened? Huh? Outside? So with pets, you can see a nice clean breakthrough of VWAP and holding above the SMA ribbon. Everything on the techs are bullish as well. Very strong movement today on that news, right? The news is right here. It's going to review the acquisition proposal received from Silver Cape Investments, and it's for it's going even higher right now, right? So that looks really nice. Looks really nice. So here to review, got proposal to buy at $4 per share. So that's why we're getting that nice move up on this one. That chart is pretty wild too. Look how big swings that it's had to the upside and downside. Wonder if it's had a reverse split. I don't see a reverse split on this one. They used to pay a dividend as well. This one did till 2023. Then after that, no. That's like, look at that. It's at the bottom of the barrel here. Look at that chart. My lord, from IPO 1998. Bounce right off that level. Insane. That's insane. And it's only a $4 bid, so it's not going to go much higher than that. Watch for the breakover 303 and carried it through the pot. Nice, Charlie. Beat got an $8 price target this morning. That's nice. If you have that feeling, maybe just take one share if you have that feeling. Adobe is so close to breaking out of its downwards trend. So I got this line here that I put on socials like last week, I think Friday or something. And this is so close to breaking out. It just needs to get above this trend line and hold above it. That's likely about above 350 and hold. And then like the upside for Adobe is like, you know, up into the 400s again. Kind of where it bounced last time around. It bounced from here and went all the way to 421 before it fizzled out. So that kind of, what kind of move that is. 26%. So looking at like a 400, at least a 400 target. And then once we get above 400, we go towards this over here again, 420s. And then to, we have room to get back to the 450s, the 460s up here. It has, I mean, it's an impressive, the earnings are very impressive. And this was trading much higher, right? In the $500 and $600 range. But the earnings they always surprise beat with their earnings. So I love it. And they're also like their income is also increasing as well, and their revenue. So this is be on my radar for like a long-term investment kind of deal. 53 minutes until my meeting, coaching stream. Yeah. So if you wanna learn and get more consistent in swing trading, because that's my specialty, right? So I'm looking at some of the swing trades that we played recently. I mean, even from a couple of days ago, we got OPRAs up 5%, and that's just grabbing I grabbed 500 shares, and we're up 4.4% on that, $300. I also put out some swing options as well that have hit really good, especially put on the downside of like quantum stocks, done very well. We just gone through that in our coaching stream and kind of gone through the plan and taken the one contract during the stream and then follow up the next week. So they've been doing pretty well. And then like cold, we play natural gas quite a bit. Cold, I think got like 40-50% return in a week from our ad on Friday. So there is a lot of good perks in coaching, not just learning strategies, but you also can follow along with my personal trades. But everyone has different risk tolerance, so maybe your risk would be a little bit different to mine, but you can at least follow along what I'm doing with the updates and you know, if you like it, you can maybe take it with your plan. But there is a lot of green out there. T-Dark up 10%, Mobile Eye up 7%, CXM up 12.7% from our swing trade. And these are all ones that we've pretty much, I like to build positions, but these ones have just been first buys and I haven't really added any more since then. So they've done pretty well. UPS 15%. I also got Team that I'm up 7%, Whirlpool up 9%. So there's a lot of green, and just consistency, right? There is some red. I got some red here, like Upstart, a little bit red. DV a little bit red. Like there is some red, but the green that I have definitely outweighs all that red. So yeah, that stream starts at 11 a.m. Did you pop the yeah, you did put it right there. If you look at Pookie's message, 10:07, there's a link there to enroll if you want to get in there. Dan C, what are you currently risk-free trade? Stop in place above average. What do you got there? Oh, you got the pet one? Okay. Yeah. That one's nice. What is this up to now? Okay. So after that announcement about 8 o'clock, you can see this big spike. That's kind of where I would be watching that area. If we see any continuation, I'd be looking for the reaction there. And if it's not good, then maybe that's where I'll be taking my last profits, or at least raising my stop up tighter. But if we get through there, 3:30 that is on the dot, then you know we could be on our way to $4. At this point, it seems like they accept the deal. Nice bounce right back up with SPY. Let's go to the 3-minute. Nice U-shaped recovery here. So now you can look to play, if you played the downside, you now can switch to this upside and wait for it to break above this black, this red. I'm going to put it black so it stands out a little bit. Get above this black line, this pre-market highs, and take a trade if we get above there, and start aiming for these lines that we were put out earlier today. 687 calls. If we get above this black line. If we don't, maybe we touch it and we get rejected. And we maybe fall down again, we have to see. Oh, cool. Weave down 5% today. Planet Lab is up to a new high, like all-time high is at $17.50. Congrats to the rest of retired peeps. That one was alerted in the 4s on the rest of retire. So down here somewhere it was alerted. Actually, not even this year, it was last year. So it's down here somewhere. The 3 and 4s. We alerted this for a long-term hold. It's all the way up to 17. Oh, you got 5% on Oprah, on Opera, OPRA. Yeah, so that one's doing nice too. It's up to 14.30, and we discussed this as well, right, in our group, and that's what you get access to. But this one, if you look, like this is actually, I believe it was brought up on Monday's stream with TNT, but I snatched it. because I love that setup. I think they passed on the setup, but I do like this setup from these levels. And we were looking for a retest of 1360s a couple of days ago, and we got it, and then we bounced off it, and I grabbed some 500 shares, 366, I think it was, a 1366. And now we're bouncing off that level and back up. So, you know, at this point, with a plan, you just know that if we lose that low here, for me personally, if we lose this low and we close under this low, then I take my loss and get out, and it won't be a very big loss. But if you're happy with this profit, you can stick a break even stop loss in, so you won't ever leave with losses in this case. But upside momentum towards 15s, like towards 17, and then like the top of the range was $20. So it has very good fundamentals. They also pay a dividend, but it's a little bit high of a dividend if you ask me. But that's what you get as well. So last time it bounced here, it went all the way in 2 or 3 months back up to 20 from the 12. So that's a really good return on your investment there. If anyone's, you know, we did this in coaching. Obviously, I'm talking about now a little bit higher than when we bought it, but if you're still interested, it could be a very nice, solid trade with a very, you know, defined stop in place. But, you know, if it loses this area, this black line, then it's down to probably about $10 after that point down here. So that's why I'm just going to have a stop underneath this low if we lose it. But looking nice, looking curly. That's right. You don't have to take big losses. Absolutely not. Don't do it. Tesla didn't like that retest of those levels. So that yesterday's level here before the big breakout into the end of the day, it didn't like that. It retested it right here and it did not like it. It said, no way am I getting above that line. I'm gonna reject and fall back down. So it doesn't like that. It's kind of like a little cup here and handle forming on this 2 minute time frame, right? So let's see what that is. Kind of like this. It's not going to be the best drawing, so please forgive me. But something like that. So if it breaks out of this, then potentially it could be a nice trade, right? It's like a little cup and handle forming here. So if we break above that, upside towards maybe 446 then. So it's looking okay, but it needs to still get above this resistance here. But it's like a little mini cup and handle, right? If you can see that horrible drawing. So it's still rejecting down off that level. Look at that one forming too. This is nice. This is Edison, Mr. Edison. This one's really nice if it holds 95.50. This is, I mean, the channel's all the way to about 103 to 104 up here, and it's only about, you know, 7 from this area where it's at now. It's what's that, 8-9%, but it could be very low risk, 8-9% for maybe downside risk of about 1%. but 8% to the upside and 1% risk to the downside is huge. That's good risk to reward numbers. So this one is nice. If you can just hold and start pushing here, get above 97.25. I think it's on its way back to 102, 103 up here. This one's really nice. So SPY downside move happened today. Now it's bouncing back up. Now it's got to break through this for me to say it's very bullish here. It's got to break through that 686. Nice, you got them pets. Nice stuff. Good profit. I wish I traded it with you. Oracle's looking pretty good here for continuation on the push back up here. I may look to trade a little call Oracle once we get above 194. Yeah, 194 is what I'm looking for. Yeah, if Oracle can get above 194, it's about 193.5. But if you can get over 194, may take a little swing call on that one. Okay, so if you're looking at SPY call trade and you didn't trade the reversal up down here somewhere off these levels, then a total break of 686 is what we're looking for to trade this to the high 686s, then it's to the 687s, mid to upper 687s, and then back towards yesterday's highs. And Oracle's trying to rip through 194 now. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, that's great. When you start to get into more trades, when the day goes on, you start to make more mistakes because it doesn't meet your plans that you set out for previous trades that you did, and you just like maybe lower those standards a little bit and you try to find the next one and you try trading too many, then you start to lose those profits that you did very well in the very beginning with that perfect execution on that first trade. So trying to find more when you don't need to, you could start eating into your profits for the day, and then you're not up to your 2-3% that you had, and then you have to go try to chase it another one when you don't need to, so your quota for the day, maybe it's 2%, maybe it's 5%, maybe it's 15%, and you already met it. Really think hard before trying to jump into something else. Make sure it's worth it. I see that there is a green triangle. Yeah, so here, like this one. Okay, so if we're just going off of the ribbon only, so just like get rid of everything on my chart, so we just keep VWAP on there. But if we got rid of all these other things, right? And we just got rid of my lines. Then, yeah, you get the ribbon, and this one here closed above the green, but it's right on the line. So the next candle is where I would have entered. If we got the follow through on the next candle on the green, the next candle being the green, and you can see here it wicked down to the VWAP and then pushed off. That candle there would have been my entry candle. This one, this kind of hammer candle, right? And then I would have taken it from there. This candle, this green, is giving us a bullish signal saying that we closed above the ribbon, but because it's right on the line, like I would not be taking the trade right on that line. I would want to see the next candle push off that for me to take a trade. So yeah, absolutely. You could have taken it based on the ribbon entry. And then your stop loss would be under the red line. If we lose the red, then you just have a stop loss. And that's keeping your risk very tight to your entry point, just in case it rolls over and you can get out with minimal damage. And then the above green obviously is going to get you in on a bullish momentum, right? So you can see here, it's just going to carry on. Now, if you go down to the 2 minute, it would have been a very good execution on that entry two on the next candle here. It's above VWAP, it's above the SMA 20. We got follow through. So that next candle after this one. Same thing right here. We got this green candle, next green candle, we got a follow through. Didn't quite get the energy, right? The power it needed to continue up. So your stop loss would have been pretty much close to your entry on this next candle here, these candles. So it would have stopped, it would have got you out before this big mess right here. That makes sense. And that's with just using the ribbon and the VWAP and the volume, and not using no support levels, no resistance levels. You're just using the ribbon for guidance. 3 minutes smoother. 3 minutes is going to give you a bit smoother action on the entries. Yeah, so I like to break through resistance points, but if you're just going off the ribbon, it's not bad either, because you're going to keep your risk very tight with the red line anyways if we lose it. So you're not going to really put any more risk on your trade. But it did like to bounce right off that gap right there, right? So you can see it bounce right off this low of pre-market here once we opened up. Bounce right here. Now it's off to the races, it looks like. Oracle's $1 above that 194 already. So things are looking very, very nice now to the upside after that short sell-off. Pets just got to a high of day 346 was the high before the pullback here. Now, the MA9 is where it's holding. So, you know, as long as it holds above the MA9, which is 313, then kind of bounce off that all day long to new highs. But it just needs to stay above that MA9, which is around 313. Just wick down to it and bounce off pretty nicely back to the 320s. But that's kind of what I would look at also, the 9-day for that one. All silver miners big over the last few days. Watch HYMC. It's heavily shorted. Meme start with AMC. Don't own anymore, but it's a silver miner. All right, that's good stuff. Thanks for sharing that. SPY to a new high. So SPY's going to a new high here. Gold is up another 7%. Yeah, absolutely. We called it out in the 19s on Friday. Gold, it's at what, 28 now? You know, that's stupid profit right there. YMC. Let's have a look at this one. This is a mining company, silver mining company. Oh wow, it's been on. Look at that. Nice curl on that. You can pretty much just play these, the breaking through high, like break through that high there and take it up towards the 13s. So like every time it breaks a new high, look to take an entry, a safer entry, or a pullback to the SME 20, which is 1080 right now on the daily. But yeah, silver's definitely been hella moving, right? Look at that. I think we talked about this on a one-on-one with David in our lifetime membership, and we're talking about, we were up here at the time when we said either a pullback, deep pullback here if we lose this area, or a bounce. And we got to a new high after that. Look at that. That is dangerous. Dangerous stuff here. Because when this silver topped out here in 2011 at $48, so it downtrended for 5 years. So it peaked out 2011, it bottomed out in 2016. So that's 5 years it downtrended for after that. So I would hate for us to grab the top and then see a downtrend for 5 years. So I think it's looking a little toppy. It may go a little bit higher, but dangerous stuff here. Very dangerous stuff. But yeah, I could definitely see us maybe a little bit higher. But once it starts rolling over, just don't be a part of that, because you can see it downtrend for a couple of years after that. Once it tops out, like finally tops out. Supply is getting very low. Standard price may jump significantly. Yeah, I just follow the trend till it cracks. Once it cracks, then you reverse and go into the trend to the downside. So I'm gonna end this stream in a few minutes, but if we lose this, I'm gonna take puts. So we lose 686, I'm gonna take puts. It may be a short-term day trade, but if we lose that, then I take puts. If we bounce off that, continuation upside. So if we lose this area here, we can literally fall back down to maybe here again, or at least the midpoint. If we retest like it is now and we start bouncing off, it could just continuation calls. And our primary target would be pretty much up here where it was yesterday. So I'm gonna jump off now, but that is my plan. And so if we lose 686, play downside day trade, maybe a scalp for 5, 10, 20 minutes, who knows? Just continue that trend. If it falls, continues to fall, play more downside until we start reversing, then take profits. If we bounce right here at 686, which it looks like it's trying to do right now, then we play more upside towards, that 687, 688, 689, those highs of yesterday. But yeah, I'm gonna jump off because I have to get ready for the coaching stream in about 25 minutes. So thanks for hanging out, and I will see you around in the chats and maybe in the coaching. Thank you guys.